Hi, this is Greg Beckett, motivational hypnotist, and a new episode of Time to Get Unstuck here on the Hypno 24/7 Live Network. Thanks for tuning in. Today I have a great guest, and I'm really excited about having her here, Angie Hernandez. Before I introduce Angie and our really interesting word today, I want to talk about our sponsor, which is Hypnothoughts Platinum. And Hypnothoughts Platinum is a little bit different than Hypnothoughts Live, which is a conference in August where we have about 1,000 people that are hypnotists or interested in hypnosis that come in August. This is a little bit more focused about if you're good, getting better. It's not about the new person. It's not about just starting. It's about people that already have a practice or they're already in hypnosis and they want to just elevate up a little bit more. It'll be February 28th and 9th and March 1st in San Diego. There's going to be 6 speakers and 3 days. So each of them have a half day to cover particular topics to help each and every one of you, if you decide to go, to learn and grow and move forward. You can go to, let me think, htplatinum.net to check out the speakers and all the information. And thank you to Hypnothoughts Platinum for sponsoring us today. So with that said, Time to Get Unstuck is about moving forward. And it is taking a word that was important in my journey or of the guest or clients and things that come up often and just start with that as the topic of what we're going to talk about today. And I'm excited about having Angie Hernandez. She's a hypnotherapist. She's also an author of a children's book and a trainer. Hi, Angie.
Hi. I'm excited to be here.
I am really excited about having you because I think we have a lot of similarities. We don't necessarily talk just to talk.
Right.
We have ideas and thoughts and very sincere about what we have to say. And we have an interesting word because I'd been thinking about this word, but I didn't know who with. And then you brought it up when I said, what word would you like to do? And the word today is allowing.
Allowing.
Allowing. So here we are, Angie.
I know when you said that, I said, I say that to my clients all the time. Allow yourself to relax, allow yourself to imagine, picture, pretend, allow yourself to go a little further. And I know in my own life, allow was a word I didn't allow myself.
Can I join that club? I'm in the same club.
Oh man. Well, I had abuse in my young childhood, so I was very walled up. I did go out and seek adventure, my style, kind of mild adventure for some people. But I was very much protected myself inside this little wall. And I remember when we moved west, we lived in Las Vegas for 2 years. My husband and I had only one day off together. So my other day off, so as not to spend money, I would kind of sit around in the apartment and watch the Carson Network, which was B movies all day long, really bad movies. And to allow myself to relax for a few hours, I really had a struggle with that. I could not allow, it felt like I had to be working. I grew up in a working family. And I had to really go within myself and recognize that I needed this time period to relax and learn more about my inner self, to separate myself from my past and think about the great things in my future. And that was a struggle for a while. I had to learn to do that. So allowing, that's a big word for me.
I think it's a big word for a lot of people. I'm going to talk about for myself and clients, because I think when clients come to us, it's a part of ourselves showing up. A lot of times we're working on things. It's a secret. We're working on things as hypnotists on ourselves.
Yeah.
Don't tell. A good hypnotist, a good therapist, anybody's working on themselves, right? To move forward.
Yes.
And they show up with sometimes the same issue, what's going on, and we've just worked through it or had some breakthroughs, and there we are to be able to share it. And allowing for me was a big one because, we have certain expectations of ourselves or of other people. And to engage with even friends and family and stuff is allowing them to be themselves and also allowing ourselves to be who we are, even if it's not congruent with other people's view of us.
Yes. Yes. Allowing yourself to be something completely different. And I'd already begun that journey by being an exchange student and learning another language than marrying someone from that country and bringing them back here and not following in the family business. That was, and I was very surprised to overhear some family members, you know, disparaging me when they thought I wasn't listening for doing some of those things. I'm like, it never occurred to me that something that would enrich my life would put them out.
Right.
So but I had to maintain a family relationship. I had to allow them to have that silly opinion, in my opinion. Right. And I had to tell myself it didn't make me change who I was. I wasn't going to change to conform to ideas that they just weren't congruent with me.
Yeah. You know, what's really interesting too, when we talk about allowing, is when we want change and we have expectations of when it's going to happen, or we're not. Hey, I've been a procrastinator a lot. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've played plenty of solitaire games. If I were to look up my my count of, you know, they have a count of games and you just play every once in a while.
Do you have a camera that looks into me and sees me on?
And the thing of it is I would get so angry at myself and frustrated. And clients have had the same things. It may not be solitaire. It might be some other thing. When really it's allowing us time, because we're not allowing our time to have downtime or to have enjoyment. So we steal from maybe what's supposed to be a productive time to allow us to, maybe we need that time to process in our mind or just to have a break. But if we give ourselves that permission and allow it in a structured way, or I even started writing in my calendar time for me, because I just came up with that not too long ago, because, and I know it's, some people can go, duh, and other people go, holy cow, like you just said, that's great, is that I schedule everything else. Yeah. But I never thought about, you know what, I need to schedule so that I can look forward to that and I can have fun and allow myself.
And it's okay.
That it is okay.
But it was so hard for me to learn that lesson. Well, a little more than a year ago, with my mom, and my sister had issues, family. Finally, it became too much for me to conduct all the business I was. And I really had to allow myself evenings, instead, when I would come home and I would do computer work, I'd blog and other things. I had to then allow myself to have that as downtime. Right. And the only way I could do that, or I have been doing it for months, is I took up adult coloring. Yeah. While I have the television running. And so that my hands are busy and I'm not sitting there criticizing myself for the downtime. Yeah. But you're right. I was processing during that time. And I need that because the rest of my life takes a lot out of me. And cutting back my practice, that was very hard. I mean, I've worked hard to fill my calendar. That was very hard for me to do. Yeah. But I needed to do it for my own sanity, and it was okay. I had to allow that.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting as we talk is there's so many ways that with ourselves or with our clients, if people are listening, how you can use the word allow, like allow yourself to change your identity, meaning who you think you are in a certain situation, or allowing opinions of others, as we had talked before, and still holding space to allow ourselves to be who we are, or allow yourself. I had a really interesting interview with Gilles Zach about allow yourself to have that imagination to discover who you can become or the possibilities. But we get in those confines of what other people expect us to be. Yeah. And we take on those roles.
Yeah. We get in a rut. We get in that rut.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about with smoking cessation. I do a lot of that. And they're like, you know, you've been smoking, you've made this big habit, and it's a big, deep rut that you're in. I said, you got to take this recording home and listen to it, because we're trying to make a new rut, a healthier rut. But we're in the same, as you say, we're in the same rut with our habits and where we are. And that's like why getting away on a vacation or just out of town is good for you, because you get out of, you're not just sitting at home thinking, well, there's the laundry, there's the dishes, there's the shopping, there's the floor. Yeah, you get away and you don't think of those things, and you can do things for yourself, and you can think, what could I become if I allowed myself to think this way? Yeah. What would it be like if I could be more like this person that I admire? Yeah. What's the difference between he and I? And maybe it's not that much. Maybe I could try that on for a little while and see how that feels. At home, you get stuck in those ruts, and it's pretty hard to change that kind of thinking.
Yeah, I say about when it comes to allow and just allowing yourself that space is to allow. It was. We were talking about imagination. We were talking about allowing. As people who give, and a lot of people that are looking to change and grow typically are givers. But the person that they don't allow is themselves.
Yes.
When we do that self-care or that selfishness in a good, positive way of doing things for yourself, then it builds that bank account to where you can still give, right?
Yeah.
And you can still help.
Yes, if you have that picture, that picture of yourself, if you don't fill it up, you don't have any to pour out and give to others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What would you say if someone's listening that they are on the road to change and it's a little bit new for them? Do you have any kind of thought of how they could use the word allow or to take a moment for themselves? Does that make sense, the question?
I think so. I think I would think to myself, I can allow myself this half hour, this evening, this day of trying on this new way of being and allow it to sit with me. And then maybe after that day or that half hour, kind of analyze how I felt. Am I on the right track? Is it partly good, but I need to tweak it a little?
Yeah.
Try it on. Allow yourself to try it on a little bit. You go into a store, you might try on a new shirt, but
for about 2 seconds and it doesn't look good.
Yeah, or it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I like the style. I could go back and try a different size or a little bit different shirt, and that might meet my needs better. So try it on the way you would go in and try something on in a store and walk around in it a little bit, like a new pair of shoes, and see, wow, that does not feel that good. I need to tweak that a little bit. So yeah, we're going to change, but don't understand that the decision you've made to change doesn't mean what you've chosen is a perfect fit the first time.
Right. Because you're allowing yourself opportunity to try different things, right?
Yes, you might not get it right the first time. You might not get it right the 1,000th time. Just keep evolving and keep trying.
Or you have something and then it's you've grown out of that.
Yes.
It's not a stagnant thing.
Right.
Now, with that said, the thought that jumped in my mind was about everybody thinks when we're talking about growth and change that it's all rainbows and, but we have to allow ourselves to express that anger.
Here's what I keep. Change ain't pretty sometimes.
We have anger, we have sadness, we have stress, we have worry, we have joys, of course, but all of it needs to be expressed and be allowed to show itself instead of putting it all down and then it just festers.
If you push down those emotions instead of working through them, it's going to come out in your physical body eventually as disease or pain, physical pain. So you need to work through those in some way. If you can work through them, fine. If not, ask a friend for some help because it'll come back at you. Do you know people with chronic pain? I do.
Yeah.
They haven't worked through stuff, old useless pain that they don't need anymore. But there's plenty of medical studies that now they understand that certain traumas in life will make you more susceptible to long-term pain. Yeah. So work through that stuff
too, right? The perspective of once someone's healed and they still have pain, what are they still needing?
Yeah.
In that perspective of why aren't they allowing it?
Yeah, it's a signal.
Yeah.
You haven't allowed yourself to heal. You haven't allowed yourself to feel the emotion. You haven't allowed yourself to work through it. No, you're never going to be the same. There's always going to be that point in my life before this happened. This is what my life was like. After this happened, my life was different. That's not going to change. So, but you work through the emotion. You learn the lesson as best you can. And you keep considering as you change and evolve in your life, what new things can you learn from that experience and others that you have? You have to allow yourself to analyze those things.
Yeah. It's that whole permission thing. I know that there's times that even clients coming in, having someone be in that rut or in that stuck place, and then someone gives them an idea, but also gives them the permission to have a new idea, the permission to think out of that box or sphere that they feel so contained in. And it's really just a thought that cracks it open a little bit, or a possibility, and then allowing that to.
There's many people that are so stuck, they don't think, they almost feel like it's a real thing. It's a real brick wall. And even though they got a hammer there at their feet, they really don't understand that they could chip away at that wall little by little. They wonder if their universe will implode if that happens, and life will cease to be. Yeah, your old life will cease to be, but you'll have a better life. They really are very blinded sometimes in that spot.
You know, that fear I talk about a lot is like a brick wall, like you said, or a wall, and it can be as thin as air or as thick as the universe, right?
Yeah.
But the truth is, it's only in our mind.
Yeah.
And it's that constant, sometimes it's good, right? Because it gets us moving, and other times all it does is hold us back. And knowing the difference.
Well, that's that thin line. There's that thin line between anxiety and excitement. And if you can change the energy of anxiety, which feels very much like excitement, if you can just shift, think how different your body and your mind would feel.
Yeah, that's because there's so much in anxiety, because again, we go back to the word allow as it pops back in, is because of what expectations, what we think it's supposed to be, what we're afraid to do, what we're not allowing ourselves to do. Because of what? I mean, I have had other businesses and things like that at times I've not been able to make a decision because I'm afraid of what's on the other side and not allowing myself to discover it, knowing that I can handle it, because we always handle stuff one way or another.
Yes.
Whether we make the decision or not.
What was it? I saw a discussion, a really long discussion, and it was the central part of it was climate change. And finally someone wrote, what will we ever do? What will we do? They'd been hand wringing through the whole thing. And the last person said, we'll adapt. And that's what we do. We adapt.
We could choose to adapt in I don't want to say an easier manner, but in a different way, or just keep adapting as we keep shrinking, you know, as people are holding in and still adapt, or we can adapt in a more open way.
It's what I call with parents and kids, work the problem. I tell parents, look, one of the biggest things you can do with a kid is teach them to work a problem. You have a problem, what can you do to change the problem? You have a homework assignment, you don't have the knowledge you need, you can go out and find the knowledge. How do you do that? You can look it up. Right. You can ask an expert. You can come to your parent. You can ask a friend who's good in that. So work the problem. If that doesn't work, what's the next step you could take? So learning to work a problem is one of life's biggest challenges, that once you learn it, it's great. Then you can apply it all through your life. And that's where allowing yourself to not get stuck in the fear, but say, okay, that's scary, but now how do I work this problem?
How, right?
Yes.
It's how do I change this? How do I move through this? How? And I talk a lot sometimes about how we get stuck up here.
Yes.
And our feelings and things come from here, and we live here, wherever you want to call this, feelings, emotions, God, soul, core, whatever. And that this is the boss and this is the employee. And we tend to let the employee run the store or whatever business, instead of saying, this is what I feel. Now, all I need the employee is to tell me how.
Yes.
And to train the mind how. And it solves so many things.
Yeah. Even a big disappointment in life, I tell myself, okay, I'm going to give myself this period of time for a pity party. You're
going to allow it.
Yeah, I'm going to allow this period of time for a pity party. For a small disappointment, it's a few minutes. And for a bigger one, it might be longer. But I said, after that, then I'm going to work the how. I'm going to work the problem and see, where do I go from here? Even if life is never the same again, and it probably won't be, it's not the first time I've had to work a problem.
The interesting thing is life's never the same at all, ever. We've just had a conversation. We're different. We got more information. It's never the same. And we all look for that consistency and that safety of non-change in a world that's constantly changing. So it's about I'm trying to learn constantly. I'm working on learning and getting in the flow more so that the change is actually the consistency that you're looking for. Rather
than being stuck.
Right.
In the same thing. And I often have to tell myself too, there are people all over the world, most of them in much worse shape than I am. And that might be emotionally, financially, whatever it is. And they seem to get through life. I certainly can with all my advantages in this world of abundance.
Yeah. Oh, you know this, as I talked to you about, this is the alarm. We got a couple of minutes. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to leave people with? Or do you feel like we covered what you wanted to say?
I think it's a big subject. Yeah. I would like to hear people come back and tell us how they use the word allow and the how. Yeah. I think those go together, like you said. And I'd like to hear their opinions about it, because I bet there's some things that you and I could learn from others.
Yeah, absolutely, that we've never thought of. Something that I wanted to say real quick, you were talking about people worse off and things like that. My mantra when I'm having a tough day is to say to myself, I have a roof over my head, I have food on the table, I have health, and I have opportunity. The rest is up to me.
That's perfect.
And then I go from there and go, okay, what am I going to do with the opportunity? So, Angie, how would you like people to contact you, or where would they find you?
Well, of course, I'm on the big world of Facebook, like we all are. But my website is Indiana Hypnosis Center. I think I gave you some links that
they'll show up at the bottom.
Probably put up. I have my own Facebook group, which anyone can join, although it's private. You have to put in, and then I'll approve you. It's the Smart Cookies Hub.
Oh, cool.
And we talk about business, a little about blogging.
Cool.
We try to keep it positive in there and not get too hung up on
little things.
Stuff. We don't like crazy. Only your own craziness.
You probably monitor that pretty good anyway, because you're pretty no nonsense. Let's get to the thing and not worry about the other stuff.
Yeah, I don't like the junk on there.
Yeah.
I don't like the negative stuff. So yeah. So I'm going to show my kids' book.
Yeah. What's it? It's a little bit of a glare. What's it called?
Yeah, it's a glare. It's Charlie. Charlie's my granddaughter. She's right up here in the hot air balloon.
Yeah.
Charlie's Cuddly Animals for Little Geniuses. And so it's just a picture book, and Charlie's in it.
Yeah.
And it has just the words for the animals in English and Spanish.
Oh, cool. It's bilingual teaching.
Yes, I expected to have another one, but things have set me back, and now she's going to be a big sister, so I have to get busy.
Oh, good. What age group is that book for?
That would be for a baby's learning to speak, I would think. Okay. Yeah, because she's a little past that already, and she's going to be 2 here soon. And then my weight loss program, I almost have that ready. I'm putting that online, free for practitioners and anyone else. I don't do a lot of weight loss anymore. So here's a workbook that works with the Mind Speak. There's videos, there's audios, and the next thing out that's just about ready is the script book. I have 4 scripts in there for weight loss. And that'll be, digitally, it'll be free.
Great. So they can get some free things from you. They can get a book from you. They can find you online and at your website.
I'm everywhere.
And you do online sessions too, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Online sessions.
So you can be anywhere in the world and interrupt.
Worldwide, I can allow you. Even in Spanish, I can allow you.
There you go. Gracias por estar aquí hoy conmigo, Angie. Thanks for being here with me today. I appreciate your insight and your heart. And I want to thank everybody else for tuning in to this episode. And hopefully you'll find some valuable information and check back in again when we're here. So thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.